Hi, I'm Rosalind. I built my tech company from the ground up while supporting Mom through her illness. When she passed last week, I expected grief, not to see the father who abandoned us 10 years ago show up at her funeral. He's here, Aunt Deb whispered, squeezing my hand as we stood receiving condolences. Back corner with a woman and teenager. Who's here? I kept my smile fixed as another distant relative moved on. Your father, Rosie, Richard. After all this time. My chest tightened. That's impossible. He wouldn't dare. Want me to have security escort him out? Lucas, my business partner and oldest friend, appeared at my other side. I shook my head. Not during the service. Mom wouldn't want a scene. Well, I think your mother would want me to give that man a piece of my mind, Aunt Deb said, her voice rising. 10 years without a word. Not a dime of child support after you turned 18. Please, Deb. Not now. The service passed in a blur. I delivered my eulogy, somehow keeping my voice steady despite feeling his eyes on me the entire time. Afterward, during the reception, I was arranging photos of Mom when a voice I hadn't heard in a decade spoke behind me. Your mother would be proud of you, Rosie. I know I am. I turned slowly. It's Rosalind now. Only friends call me Rosie. Dad, Richard, looked older, but still had that charming smile that once convinced Mom to forgive too many broken promises. You've done well for yourself. That tech startup of yours, Clarity Connect, right? Read about your Series B funding in the journal. Why are you here? I asked, keeping my voice low. To pay my respects, of course. Margaret and I had our differences, but... Differences? You walked out and never looked back? A teenage girl approached, hovering uncertainly behind Richard. Dad, should I go back to Mom? My half-sister. The replacement family. In a minute, Megan. I'm talking with your sister. Stepsister, I corrected automatically. Richard's smile tightened. Listen, Rosie. Rosalind. I was hoping we could talk. Privately. About family matters. We're not family. There are things you don't understand. Financial arrangements your mother and I made. Inheritance issues. Lucas appeared beside me. Everything okay here? It's fine. Mr. Patterson was just leaving. Actually, Richard said, producing a business card. I was hoping we could meet tomorrow. There's a lot to discuss about your mother's estate. I took the card automatically. There's nothing to discuss. I think you'll find there is. I'll be at the Westfield Hotel until Thursday. Call me. As he walked away, Lucas studied my face. What was that about? I think he wants money, I said, the realization settling like ice in my stomach. Aunt Deb rejoined us, watching Richard's retreating back. Your mother told me he'd been calling her these past few months, after your company made the news. Mom never said anything. She didn't want to worry you, but she was worried he might try something like this. Like what? I asked. Aunt Deb's eyes narrowed. Like showing up to claim what was never his to begin with? The morning after the funeral, I met Lucas at our usual coffee shop. He was already there when I arrived, 2 cups waiting on the table. You look like you didn't sleep, he said as I slid into the booth. How could I? My estranged father shows up after 10 years, suddenly interested in inheritance issues. It's obvious what he wants. Lucas leaned forward. Has he actually said anything about money? He didn't need to. The timing says everything, right after Clarity Connect hit unicorn status. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Need to talk about your mother's wishes. Important. Richard. He's persistent. I'll give him that, I muttered, showing Lucas the message. You should talk to Vivian, Lucas suggested, referring to our company lawyer. Just to know where you stand legally. The bell above the door jingled, and, to my surprise, Megan, my half-sister, walked in. She spotted me immediately and approached our table. Can I join you? Just for a minute? I glanced at Lucas, who shrugged. Sure. Megan slid into the booth, fidgeting with a napkin. I wanted to apologize for yesterday, for Dad showing up like that. Did he send you? I asked. No. He'd kill me if he knew I was here. I thought you should know why we came. I'm listening. Dad's business failed last year. We lost the house. Mom's working 2 jobs, and college is... She trailed off, looking embarrassed. When he saw the article about your company, he said it was family karma coming around. So he came for a handout, I said flatly. He says your mom promised him something, from before, that they had an agreement. Lucas snorted. Convenient timing to remember that. My phone rang. Aunt Deb. I excused myself to take it outside. Rosie, that man is at your mother's house right now, going through her things. What? How did he get in? I don't know, but I drove by to check on things and his rental car is in the driveway. I'm calling the police. No, wait. I'm coming over. I ended the call and hurried back inside. We need to go. Richard's at Mom's house. Megan's eyes widened. He told me he was meeting with a lawyer this morning. Well, he lied, I said. Again. 20 minutes later, we pulled up to find Richard loading a box into his car. What do you think you're doing? I demanded, slamming my car door. Collecting personal effects that belong to me. Things Margaret kept when I left. Aunt Deb's car screeched into the driveway. I knew it. You're nothing but a thief, Richard. These are my belongings, he insisted. Things I left behind. So you broke in? I asked. I had a key, never turned it in. Lucas opened the box Richard had loaded. Jewelry? Old stock certificates? These don't look like your personal effects. There's an agreement, Richard insisted, his charm evaporating. Margaret and I had an understanding about certain assets. Show me this agreement, I challenged. It was verbal, between your mother and me. Convenient that she's not here to confirm that, Aunt Deb snapped. Richard turned to me, his voice softening. Rosie, honey, your mother would want the family taken care of. All of the family. Don't, I said, my voice shaking. Don't you dare tell me what Mom would want. I'm still legally her husband, he said, his eyes hardening. We never divorced. That's when I knew exactly what he was after, and what I needed to do. You're not still legally her husband, I said, watching his expression carefully. Mom divorced you 8 years ago. Richard's face paled. That's not possible. I never signed anything. It was uncontested. You were served papers, but after you failed to respond, it went through by default, I explained. Mom kept her maiden name for business, but legally, she hasn't been Margaret Patterson for years. You're lying, he insisted, but uncertainty flashed across his face. Lucas stepped forward. Maybe we should continue this conversation with the police, since you've broken into a house that doesn't belong to you. Dad? Megan stood by my car, looking confused and embarrassed. What's going on? Richard ignored her. Rosalind, be reasonable. I'm your father. Biologically, maybe. But you gave up any other claim to that title when you walked out. What did you tell me? I need to live my own life now. Well, I built my own life too, without you. I made mistakes, he admitted, switching tactics. But families forgive each other. Your mother would... Don't tell me what my mother would do. My voice rose. She worked 2 jobs to put me through college after you left us with nothing. She remortgaged her house to help me start my company. Where were you when she got sick? Where were you during the chemo treatments I drove her to every week for months? Aunt Deb moved to my side. Richard, put those things back and leave before I call the police. You don't understand, he said, desperation creeping into his voice. I need this. Just a small stake in the company. That's all I'm asking for. I gave her the idea for that connectivity software years ago. Lucas laughed. You didn't even know what the company did until you read about it. Megan needs college tuition, Richard pressed on. Your sister, half-sister, I corrected. And using her as leverage is low, even for you. Dad, stop, Megan pleaded. This is humiliating. Richard's face darkened. Get in the car, Megan, now. No, she said quietly. This is wrong. He grabbed her arm. I said get in the car. Lucas stepped between them. Let her go, now. This is family business, Richard snarled. Stay out of it. I'm calling the police, Aunt Deb announced, phone already in hand. Richard released Megan, his face contorting with anger. You'll regret this, Rosalind. I'm entitled to a share of your success. I'm going to talk to my lawyer. There are ways to prove my contribution to your company idea. Ways to get what's mine. There's nothing here that's yours, I replied calmly. Not the house, not Mom's possessions, and certainly not my company. We'll see about that, he threatened, getting into his car. This isn't over. As he drove away, Megan stood awkwardly on the lawn. I'm so sorry. I had no idea he was planning this. It's not your fault, I said, surprising myself with how much I meant it. What happens now? Lucas asked. I took a deep breath. Now we make sure he never tries something like this again. The cease and desist letter was delivered to Richard's hotel the next morning. By afternoon, Vivian, my lawyer, had received 3 increasingly angry calls from him. He's demanding a meeting, Vivian reported over the phone. Says he has evidence of his contributions to your early business concepts. Let him bring it, I replied. We both know he has nothing. 2 days later, we sat across from Richard and a lawyer who looked increasingly uncomfortable as the meeting progressed. These journal entries, Richard's lawyer began, sliding copies across the table, show Mr. Patterson discussing business ideas with his then-wife that clearly influenced Clarity Connect's founding technology. Vivian examined the pages. These are dated 3 years after you left, Mr. Patterson, and the handwriting doesn't match samples we have of yours. They're transcribed, Richard insisted, from conversations we had. Conversations no one witnessed, Vivian noted, and contradicted by Miss Sullivan's business records, patent applications, and university thesis, all documenting the development of her technology years after you abandoned the family. Richard leaned forward. Rosalind, this can all go away. Just a small stake in the company, 5%. You won't even notice it's gone. Actually, I said, opening a folder, I have something you should see. I slid a document across the table. Mom kept a journal, too. This entry is from the week after you left. His lawyer picked it up, reading aloud. Richard emptied our joint account before leaving. $43,267 taken, including Rosalind's college fund. Richard's face reddened. That money was mine, too. I've had forensic accountants calculate what that amount would be with interest over 10 years, I continued. It comes to just over $68,000. Mom never pursued it legally, but I will. You'd sue your own father over ancient history? Richard scoffed. I'm offering you a choice, I said calmly. Drop all claims against Mom's estate and my company. Sign this agreement never to contact me again, and I'll forget about the money you stole. Or, he challenged, or I'll file charges for the theft, the breaking and entering at Mom's house, and pursue a harassment suit based on your threats. Your choice. His lawyer whispered something and Richard's expression darkened. You're just like your mother. Vindictive. Thank you, I replied. That's the nicest thing you've said since you got back. After Richard stormed out, his lawyer lingered to sign the agreement. Outside, I found Megan waiting. Is it over? She asked. Yes, he signed. She nodded, looking relieved. I wanted you to have this. She handed me a small photo album. Pictures of Mom I found in our attic. Thought you might want them. Thank you, I said, genuinely touched. Megan, about college. It's okay. I got a scholarship to state, I just didn't tell Dad yet. I smiled. Smart. Does it get easier? She asked suddenly. Dealing with him? It gets different, I replied. You learn to set boundaries. Protect yourself. Later that evening, Lucas and Aunt Deb joined me at Mom's house, helping sort through belongings. You okay? Lucas asked, finding me looking through Megan's photo album. I will be, I said. Mom protected me from him my whole life. Now it's my turn to protect what she built. Aunt Deb raised a glass. To Margaret, who raised one hell of a daughter. To Mom, I agreed, who taught me that real family is about who stays, not who shares your DNA. What will you do about Megan? Lucas asked, sitting beside me on the couch. I'm not sure. She seems different from him, like she sees through his act. She came to warn you, Aunt Deb pointed out. That says something about her character. I nodded. I'm thinking of offering her an internship at the company next summer. She mentioned she's studying computer science. Your mother would approve, Aunt Deb said with a smile. She always said there were two types of people, those who build and those who take. Speaking of building, Lucas said, the new AI integration project launches next week. You still want to lead that meeting? Absolutely, I replied. Mom wouldn't want me to put anything on hold. The night before she passed, she made me promise to keep moving forward. That sounds like Margaret, Aunt Deb laughed. Always thinking ahead. She also made me promise something else, I added, my voice softening. To forgive myself for the things I couldn't control. Like Richard? Lucas asked. I nodded. Like believing he might come back all those years. Like thinking I wasn't enough reason for him to stay. Oh, honey, Aunt Deb said, squeezing my hand. Your mother never blamed you for hoping. It's what makes you different from him. You see the good in people. Not anymore, I said. At least not without evidence. That's not a bad thing, Lucas offered. You built a billion-dollar company on evidence-based decisions. We spent the evening sharing stories about Mom, and for the first time since her death, I felt something beyond grief. I felt peace. As we wrapped up for the night, I found a note Mom had left in her bedside drawer. Remember, Rosie, you've always been the strongest of us all. Trust that strength. I would. Every day forward.